Hello and welcome to Who You, the unofficial Doctor Who watch along podcast. This episode, we're going to be talking about the episode, or should I say, serial Enlightenment. Before we get into that, I'm here with my co-host Ben. How are you doing today, Ben?
Oh, pretty good. I mean, not much is new since we last talked. Just been working.
Mm.
A lot of people going to see Marty Supreme at the movie theater.
Got my ticket tomorrow. Well, I actually don't have my ticket to tomorrow to go see it, but I have planned to go see it tomorrow on 70 millimeter. So I'm looking
Ooh.
forward to that.
I'm surprised at how well it's kind of doing. I think
Interesting.
it's doing well nationally. It's doing very well at my theater in particular.
The nation got Timmy fever, you know.
Timothy Chalamet, yeah, it's a big draw. And
And he's
it
hot
having
right
it
now.
be a good movie doesn't hurt.
Yeah. And also, you got the Tyler the Creator fans, and you got the Shark Tank fans coming out.
Are there those actors?
Yeah, Tyler the Creator's in it, and then you got Kevin O'Leary, who's Mr. Wonderful from the hit TV
Yeah.
show Shark Tank.
All I know is Timothy Chalamet, Ping Pong.
Yeah, directed by Josh Safdie, of course.
Of course. Safety. Is it brothers?
Yes, but they broke up after Uncut Gems. One did Smashing Machine Benny, and Smashing Machine, in my opinion, wasn't really great. Wasn't good. So I'm very much
I've
looking forward
heard
to see what Josh
people
is
that
able to
really
do.
like the Smashing Machine.
It's not what I wanted out of the Safdie brothers project. I'm a
We'll
big
see
fan.
which brother wins.
Oh, it's not gonna be a competition. It's gonna be Josh. It doesn't help that Josh also has like he he basically kept the co-writer slash co-editor. So having that third person be there as well, I imagine that that's going to continue being the evolution of Uncut Gems is Marty Supreme. Well, we'll see. I'm gonna go see it tomorrow.
I hope you
But
enjoy.
this isn't a movie podcast, Ben. This is a Doctor Who podcast, where we are going through Doctor Who episode by episode. And today's episode, we're talking about the episode Enlightenment. Whoa.
Whoa.
Do you want me to do it, or do you want to do it, Ben? Do you want to give the spiel, the credits, or should I?
Sure, I can. This was broadcast March 1st through March 9th, 1983 on BBC One. This was written by Barbara Clegg, which this is the only television story she wrote.
And what's so big of a deal about Papa Clegg writing this episode, Ben?
She's a woman.
Yes, and she's the first woman to write for Doctor Who.
This was
It only took 20 seasons, 20 years for a woman to write for the show. Isn't that crazy?
it's crazy, and this was directed by Fiona Cumming, who's been involved with the show in many capacities, but in particular was director for this, Snake Dance, and Castrovalva previously, and will go on to do Planet of Fire. And a fun fact, I believe this is the only female writer director pair until like one of the 13th Doctor
Yeah, it
stories.
would have. I was gonna say it would have to be Jodie because like there's not a lot of women directors in New Who up until Jodie because there's only really Rachel Taylor and getting her name. She did Midnight. I have it in the back of my mind. It's another Moffat, but she's also involved in there. But very few female directors, and also very few female writers for the new series up until we get to Jodie's run. So that makes very much sense.
Produced, of course, by John Nathan Turner. I
Music
have
by Malcolm Clark, which I thought was a standout this episode. Malcolm Clark was, of course, the person that did the iconic Sea Devils uh, music, and this is his first time coming back, I think, since the Sea Devils.
hmm, I didn't really stand out all that much to me. I didn't. I mean, I didn't notice it in a bad way, but I didn't really notice it in a good way.
Interesting. I really noticed it this episode. I thought it really added to the atmosphere.
Do you have a synopsis, or
I
I got
didn't pull
one?
up a synopsis. Do you have a synopsis, Ben? Where
Yeah.
are we pulling it from this week?
Doctor Who.tv has a synopsis for the story as the White Guardian warns of impending danger and directs the TARDIS to what appears to be an Edwardian sailing ship, the SS Shadow, but is actually one of a number of spaceships taking part in a race through the solar system, the prize being enlightenment.
So, Ben, what did you think of this episode?
I had pretty high expectations, just looking at Letterboxd, and every week we look at, the list of all the stories ranked, and Enlightenment is pretty up there. Um, I feel like maybe my expectations were a little bit too high.
Hmm.
I They weren't quite met. It's got a really great like atmosphere, and the Eternals are a really interesting concept, but I feel like it didn't quite congeal into like a really great story for me. Like it's good, but it's missing the secret sauce, if that makes sense.
No, it doesn't make sense to me because I was the I'm the opposite of you, Ben. I thought the story was awesome. Like maybe I had the opposite where I had a little bit too low expectations for this story, but I was like blown away by it. I really dig the story. I love the vibes of this story. It has a great vibes. I thought Malcolm Clark's, not Malcolm Hulk, it was Malcolm Clark. Uh, Music really added to that atmosphere of the story, and it has very much an atmosphere throughout. And I thought that the story has a lot of interesting ideas with the Enlightenment and these Eternals peoples, like the very interesting ideas there, and like the whole ideas with the ships. I thought it's definitely one of those ideas that's pushing the BBC's budget,
I think
um,
it looks good though.
but
The ships in
I think it's
space.
helped that a lot of the story is just set on inside the ships, and then of course, from we've talked about in previous experience, in previous episodes, that the BBC is very good when it comes to these historicals because they have access to these historical settings. So they're able to pull out these historical ships for these sets and make it be pretty believable looking. Um, and it's helped that we don't get too much of the outside of the ships and that stuff, which honestly could have looked a lot worse from the amount of money, of course, they had. Uh, but no, I dug this story throughout, and I thought that the story was interesting throughout. But what didn't quite work for you, Ben? Would you say?
I don't know. I'm second guessing myself. Maybe I just I wasn't in the mood. That happens,
Yeah.
where it's a
Oh
good
yeah.
story, but it's not what I needed to watch right now.
The whole idea of them racing is an interesting idea to start off with. That they're racing to this enlightenment. And I think that if we just started off from the beginning of the story, I thought part one did a really good job of like letting us in on the mystery. Questioning, all right, what's going on here exactly, and
Yeah.
giving us more and more information throughout, and of course having the cliffhanger be the ultimate reveal that we're actually in space and this isn't a historical episode at all.
Yeah. Like kind of like a carnival of monsters.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Similar.
that it's similar part one to Carnival of Monsters.
I think one of the biggest disappointments here for me is Turlough,
Hmm.
where I was, I've been very tentative with Turlough. Like, well, yeah, I mean, he's kind of a jerk, but I know, after Enlightenment, that's the end, and it's all gonna get turned around. But I feel like by the end of this, I don't really feel Turlough was redeemed.
No,
That he's a good guy now.
no,
I feel like he was one hair's breadth away from destroying the universe. And he did make the correct binary choice at the end. And I do like the part two cliffhanger where he's like saying, I'm not going to let you control me anymore, even if it kills me. I do like that. Uh, but and then right away we go back to like, oh yeah, I'm on your side, evil lady. Yeah. And I'm not feeling it doesn't feel like he's playing the long game for deception. He feels like
No.
the whole time he's just out for himself.
I think it doesn't help that throughout these couple of past episodes, we haven't really built the relationship of Turlough with the Doctor and even the Doctor's
Yeah,
companions.
I feel it feels like a no-brainer to have the doctor see through this,
Yeah,
but still give Turlough the benefit of the doubt. But
yeah,
I feel like that never really happened. At the end
yeah,
of this story, he feels just like more resigned than optimistic that he's gonna make the right
yeah.
choice. It's like, do we gotta
But he
do?
also doesn't feel like a part of the family in these past couple episodes either. They all kind of you all get the idea that like they are aware that they can't fully trust Turlough, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I think if there was a little bit more of a bond that is being built to make it believable that he would choose the Doctor over the Black Guardian in the end. I think that would was needed, but it's not there. Instead, we're just focusing on the Eternals, which are
Hmm.
cool,
Yeah.
but as the finale to the Black Guardian trilogy, I wanted some more of those aspects.
Yeah. But I think the opposite thing is I really like Tegan this episode. I think they do an interesting idea with Tegan with like the Enlightenment people, no, sorry, the Eternals being all obsessed with Tegan, this serial. And in particular that one male kind of love interest this story is
Mariner?
infatuated. I throughout this podcast, Ben, you understand that I am terrible
Yeah,
with
it's
names,
Mariner.
but he is. I think that's very interesting idea of an eternal that is just factuated by this woman and is just propelled by just her being also coming from a female voice. I think as well adds something to that. I don't know if a male would have written it like that and had it also come off as so genuine. You know, it
Yeah,
doesn't
he
feel come
doesn't
off as
even
creepy or
know
like
what love is,
yeah,
but still knows that he wants her to be a part of his life.
yeah.
I mean,
I could have imagined a world that didn't work, but for me, this sale it did work. I thought that was an engaging part of this
yeah.
story.
I mean, having it be so unreciprocated to me makes it lean more towards, you know, Stalker than Romeo. But I think Tegan was good. I didn't, and I appreciate her defiance of the trap of I just want to live here. Goodbye, doctor. I
Yeah,
fall in love.
thank God.
Um,
But yeah,
but
this is definitely one of the stories that fits into that mode of. Even though I quite enjoyed the story, Peter Davison, this serial is kind of in that mode of like performances of his where he doesn't really add much to this story. You know, he's just kind of there throughout.
yeah,
He's not giving a memorable performance where I'm like, wow, Peter's really giving it his all here. It's not like an Earth Shock where it's like, wow, Peter's really a great doctor in this, and only I could see his doctor in the story. Like,
yeah,
it's kind of his doctor in this story doesn't really play a key role. It's much more Tegan kind of takes more center stage here in Turlough.
yeah. You can really count on one hand the amount of stories that are like that,
Yeah,
like Earthshock, where it's like, oh yeah, he is the doctor.
yeah. This is another one of those stories where it's like, I guess he's the doctor. He's just kind of there throughout and just doing his thing.
Yeah. For the top 5 of his era, spoilers. I wanted a little. I was hoping for a little bit more.
Yeah.
Are you missing Nissa?
No.
Would she have
Did you miss
added
Nissa?
to this story if Nissa was here?
No, she wouldn't have. She would have just been a TARDIS being like, where have they gone?
Yep, that's her
Or she
role.
would have just stayed behind. When they went to the other ship, she would have just stayed behind on the ship that we started off with, just being like, where, are they going to come back?
What did you think of Captain Rack?
She's an interesting villain in this story. Of course, the black guy is kind of like the main villain of this story, but she gives a unique performance,
Yeah.
a memorable performance. I think she's captivating every single time she's on screen. Uh, and I think that there's other versions of this story that, like something like last week with Terminus, where we didn't have a role like that, and I think that hindered the story.
Yeah.
Well, when she's on the screen, I'm kind of like, okay, what is she gonna do? I'm interested. Like, there's that great scene that she has with Tegan, when she asks Tegan the question of like, do you know the what does she say? It's like it's a saying that we say, and she uses it to freeze Tegan. Do you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about?
Have you heard of time standing still?
Yeah, and then she uses that expression to like make Tegan like just freeze. And I think that that was a very great scene and showed off her presence as an actor.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think she plays a good like second baddie in this story. What did you think of her performance and her character?
Yeah. She was good, strong performance. Definitely adds to have someone make an impression. I saw, I think, like a letterbox review comparing her to the Master as like that kind of performance. I
Yeah,
don't know if I'd 100% agree with that.
I see what they're coming from. It's a similar crackling bad guy type role. But of course, this version and this character doesn't have as much time to be able to give a performance like the master would be able to.
Yes.
Enough scenery to chew. I don't know. I've talked about majority of what I would say I like throughout this story. The end bit is kind of a dud when we get to see the white and black guardian. It could have been interesting more if that was like the third pot cliffhanger was the black and white guardian, and the third whole fourth episode is them dealing with the two guardians and them battling throughout. But their inclusion in the story is kind of just like feels like an afterthought. Just like, okay, we have to add the guardians to the story, so they're gonna be the Enlightenment, and that's how it's gonna come. And it's gonna only be in the last 10 minutes. It's not gonna be a big presence throughout this story.
Yes. Are you happy to see the White Guardian back?
Yeah, of course. It's the White Guardian, Ben. There has to be the balance of the two. Were you happy, Ben?
Sure, yeah. Do you think this is I mean, this is definitely Doctor Who doesn't really do arcs, but
Yeah.
this is very directly connected to the Key to Time. Do you think this is a
Hmm.
worthy follow up to the Key to Time, having the Black and White Guardians clashing once again?
Like, I guess just, but also like we were both pretty critical on the key to time, so it's not like it's like,
Yeah,
oh, they have to. It's not like it's like Destiny of the Daleks where it's like, oh yeah, this has to follow up Genesis of the Daleks. It's the key to time was no Genesis of the Daleks. So it's not like a sacred thing that they can't improve on. I still think it's a shame that we haven't gotten them back. They do set up in this that a chance for them to come back, the Black and White
yeah.
Guardian, but
They're
they
saying,
haven't yet.
while I exist, he exists as well, and he
Yeah.
will. When you, I think he even says like, when you encounter him a third time, be ready or something like that, and it just never happens. It hasn't happened.
Bullshit them.
Yes, he will be waiting for the third encounter, and his power does not diminish.
Like I would imagine they're probably in somewhere in Big Finish, but that doesn't count. We're talking mainline, main show.
Yeah, there's a looks like a couple, two Fifth Doctor main range and two Fourth Doctor stories, Fourth Doctor adventures, Big Finish where the Guardians are there, but
Hmm.
I don't know how much it follows from here. Although I guess yeah, there's a the key to time with the number two as an arc in the main range. It's tough. This is kind of in the sweet spot for me where it's not great enough where I have a lot of things to praise, but it's not bad enough where I have a lot of things to be
Yeah.
critical of. It was just I watched it. It was good. That's it. which is too bad. I wish I saw in it as much as you seem to have.
Mm,
Again, maybe if I rewatched it 6 months from now, I'd be like, wait a minute, yeah, no, this is great.
yeah, but it's very much one that's very good because of the mood it establishes throughout.
Yeah,
And if you can't lock in with that mood, then you might have a hard time with it. I also feel like this is one that's similar to a couple of other Peter Davison stories that we talked about, where I think a rewatch would do the story good.
we also watched it in very different ways. I watched
Yeah,
4 episodes over the course of a week ago,
yeah,
and you binged it all today,
yeah.
presumably.
Yes, I did.
So it's very much fresher and stronger, and you're still
Coming
bathed
off of
in
that
that
high.
atmosphere.
And like I would say, like the biggest compliment that I could give this story is that sometimes when you're watching a classic Doctor Who story in one sitting, or I split it up into like two different sittings, but like I didn't feel it, you know. Where
Yeah,
sometimes when it is like but sometimes when it's like I do this to myself and it's like, oh, I have to watch all of a classic Doctor Who story in one sitting. I feel it. And it can sometimes be torture. And I didn't feel like torture watching Enlightenment. That's my biggest praise that I could say. And
it's not
there's been
torture.
uh well, some even stories that I really like. It's I find it hard to watch in one sitting for classic Doctor Who, just because it wasn't designed to be that way. It was designed to be watched in different sittings.
Yeah.
So, Ben, what would you say is a way that you could this story could be improved?
I think the big one is, kind of like what I was talking about, punching up Turlough and his arc. Make
Yeah, but that's kind of a problem of
yeah,
not just Enlightenment. It's kind of a problem with just Turlough the past couple of episodes. And spoilers, man, I don't think Turlough is gonna be that much of a change after this arc. It's not gonna be like, wow, Turlough really came out to be a
he's still
3D
gonna be
dimensional
a
character.
selfish prick.
Yeah, that's his kind of only characteristic.
Um, I mean, even just more Turlo Doctor time,
Yeah.
building that bond again to make it believable that he would reject all the knowledge in the universe to save this guy's life. Just missing something.
Maybe we'll change. Maybe when Planet of Fire comes around, we're gonna be crying at Turlough's departure and be like, I'm
Oh,
gonna be
Turlo.
not the same man without Turlough in my life.
Tegan, maybe I'll feel that way. Turlo,
Yeah.
I don't. We'll see.
I would say probably like I mentioned before of like improving that fourth part and having the Guardians be much more integral to it. Have the third part be the end of the race. They reach enlightenment, and then Ben's gone. Ben's not in the frame anymore. Ben is who knows where. Ben might have forgotten it's a video podcast.
I have to blow my nose, and I don't want to do that on
Uh,
camera.
oh, that's been my shock of this whole episode, Ben. But like having them reach enlightenment at the end of the third part, and then having the reveal be it's the Guardians, and then have that really be the fourth part of the Guardians and what they have to do to overcome the Black Guardian with the White Guardian's help would have been an interesting last part. I feel like instead we just got like a very basic scene that I thought was kind of underwhelming with the Guardians, especially when they're all so powerful. You know, and this is the first time that we've seen them both together. You know,
Yeah, that's true. We only see the White Guardian for Reboss Operation, I think,
yeah,
and we only see the Black Guardian for
2 minutes. I'm just being you done me good, Doctor.
Armageddon Factor.
Uh,
Well, what else
what a
is there to
story.
say?
I don't know. I think the only way thing to say is left is cliffhangers, Ben. So give us those
All
cliffhangers.
right. Number one, we're not on a yacht. We're on a ship, a
Ooh,
spaceship.
ooh.
Number two, Turlough jumps off the ship in an act of defiance against the Black Guardian.
Which that's an interesting scene. I thought that was actually kind of emotionally, and I thought that was really well done with the music. That scene,
Oh yeah, I will
and
never
the
serve
special
you
effects was pretty
again.
good. Oh, we never did best and worst special effect. So I think that's definitely up there for best special effect. Is that scene?
Like him falling
Um,
through space.
yeah, I don't think that's that. I don't For
That's
what
good
they had,
space. Yeah.
it was pretty goddamn good.
And like
Worst is
the
probably some of the model shots of the ships.
I thought the ship, like seeing the ships in space out there, I thought it actually, looked pretty good.
It could be a lot worse.
Could be so much worse.
You could imagine that on Tracy Letts, sorry, Barry Letts budget, and with CSO.
I mean, it's slightly out of focus enough where
Yeah,
it doesn't look like toys, which
yeah,
there are model shots that it just looks like a little plastic thing.
yeah.
I think I remember seeing like a behind the scenes shot where it's like it's not small, it's like big
Mm.
against a green screen. Don't have it, but sounds familiar. And then the third cliffhanger, the Doctor is captured by Rack's men, and Rack is entranced Tegan, and she affixes a focus to her tiara,
Mm.
and Rack looks directly in the camera and says, "You've lost, Doctor. All that awaits is your ultimate destruction." Ha 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 ha
Uh,
ha ha.
the best one's Pop One.
Part one?
Yeah.
I would say part two,
Yeah, actually,
with
yeah, part two's
Turlough
probably the best
jumping off
best
the ship.
cliffhanger. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
So, Cam, how would you rate Enlightenment?
I'm gonna continue the season 20 tradition. I'm gonna go 8.3. Same as I did for Snake Dance and Modern Undead.
I think this is a solid 7.6 for an average rating of 7.95.
Time for
Like
the
I
polls.
said earlier, Doctor Who magazine does a poll every decade or so since 1998. In 2023, 2014, and 2009, it was all number 5 out of 20. Right beneath Kinda and right above Resurrection of the Daleks. In 1998, it was number 8, so a little bit of a jump between that and 2009. Does that make sense? Is this a top 5 Davison story?
I get it. I understand why people would love this story. And why it has a cult fan base, this story in particular. I'm trying to find it on the 2014 poll, the last time we did a full poll.
Yeah. You put it
Uh,
about at the same level of Modern Undead and Snake Dance, but this is a couple points higher than that.
Again, I could imagine me loving the story even more on a rewatch. This ranked number 75. So above it is The Stones of Blood, and below it is The Mind of Evil. Which when we're talking about grand scale scope of the show, I understand why it would be on par with the story like The Stones of Blood. I wasn't as high on The Mind of Evil. You were definitely much more higher on The Mind of Evil than me.
Yeah, I liked
But
all the psychological stuff there.
but I definitely understand why somebody would have it placed around that sphere of stories.
Cool.
All right. Join us next week for King's Demons. And then after that, it's Five Doctors. We finally made it, Ben. We got one more episode to
We
go.
did
So
it.
join
I'm
us.
very excited to see the gang again.
Mm.
All my doctor friends
And,
that I
and a new
miss.
doctor, too.
A new doctor.
Yeah.
We're talking about one?
Yeah, Richard Hundrell.
I mean, but he is
Yeah, but it's a different actor.
fair enough.
You get a
I
different
mean, I guess
performance.
that'll be something we talk about is this a different interpretation of the character, or is this uh Hartnell reborn?
Yeah. We'll see.
But we'll talk
Well,
about
I don't
that
know.
in
I've seen
2
it multiple
weeks.
times. I love the Five Doctors. Goodbye, everyone.
Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Peace out.